What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with Samsung Galaxy A27 5G tips and tricks and hidden features. So stay tuned if you want to learn how to get the most out of your device. So this is the Samsung Galaxy A27 5G. Now, even though this is meant to be a budget option in Samsung's range of smartphones, we're still getting a lot of cool features here with this device. Now, the first one I want to show you here is called edge panels. So you'll see this little side notch here, and you'll see that no matter where you are on the smartphone, but that is the edge panel. So if you swipe over on that, you'll now see this little sidebar, and you can see there's some apps here that you can quickly access. If you tap here, you can then see all the apps installed on your device, and you can simply tap on one to pull it up, but also if you want to, you can hold down on the app. You can drop it in the middle here for pop-up view, and then from there, the app is basically in this windowed mode. So you can do other things in the background. You can also resize this, and it's great for multitasking, that's for sure. You can also tap up there, and you can tap on this minus button to shrink it down to this little icon, and you can set it off to the side. And then if you want to bring it back, you can tap on it once again. And then if you want to expand the app all the way, you can do that too. Now, another cool thing is that if you go back to the edge panel, and then let's say you want to put an app in split screen. So I'm going to grab the calculator, and then instead of dropping it in the middle here, I can drop it on the top or bottom. And then from there, it's going to suggest a recent app for the other half of the screen. Or I can go here, and then from there, I can choose the other app that I want to show up here. So I'm going to pick the calendar. And then from there, you can actually favorite it. So that configuration will be in your favorites, or you can also swap them around. Or if you want one of them to take over more space than the other, you can also make that selection. And then to get out of this, just have one of the apps take over completely. So that's certainly really convenient. Now heading back over to here though, you can tap on this pen icon. And then from here, you can pick exactly which apps you want to be in the main sidebar of edge panels. And then going back to here once again, if you tap on the gear icon for the settings, you can further customize this. So if you tap on panels, you can choose people, tasks, weather, tools, clipboard, or reminders to be there instead. Or if you want to, you can also go to handle, and you can change the position of the handle. You can have it on the left side if you want to. You can also change the color of it, transparency. All of this stuff is fully customizable for the handle. So that's really cool. And then if you don't want the edge panel, you can also disable it. So now you won't see it here on the side. But I definitely think the edge panel is a useful feature to have. Now moving on here, if you're looking for a quick and easy way to get to the camera app on your device, simply double press on the power button, and then from there, the camera immediately appears. So that's certainly very convenient, but we can also further customize this. So go to the settings on your device, and then go to search, and then type in side, and you'll see right there side button. And then from there, we have several different options. So you can see double pressing does indeed pull up the camera, but if I go there, I can pick other tasks instead. Or if I tap on apps here, I can then choose any app on the device, and then double pressing will activate that app instead. So I can select Instagram, and then now when I double press, it pulls up Instagram. So it's really convenient. Now going back over to camera as an option, you can also further customize that. So you can have double pressing take you directly to taking a video, taking a portrait, or taking a selfie. So that's really cool as well. And then also going over to here, you can see long pressing does pull up the assistant, and you can choose the Bixby assistant if you want instead, or if you want to long press and pull up the power menu, which I feel like a lot of people actually like, you can set it that way. And then now holding down this button will actually take you to this menu here to power off the phone. So I know that's the way it used to be for a long time on many smartphones. You can also pull down here and access the power button right there as well. That's kind of the normal way of accessing it, but some people do still prefer to hold down the button to power off the device. Now the next thing I want to show you is how to hide apps with the Galaxy A27 5G. So if you hold down on the home screen here, and then go to settings, you'll then see this option called hide apps on home and app screens. So if you go there, you can choose which app you want to be hidden. So maybe you want to hide Facebook. I'm going to pick Facebook right there, go to done, and then now Facebook can be nowhere to be found on my device. And the spot where it was is now vacant. Then if I want to bring it back, I can go here once again, remove it from my hidden apps, go to done, and then it won't bring it back immediately at least, but you'll see it now in the app drawer. And then from there, I can put it back to where it was. And then now things are back to normal. But there's a lot of other good customizations if we go back to that same area there. So you can see, for example, you can change the app size. You can also hide app labels. So if I hide that, now you'll see there's no labels for any of the apps here. Now there are labels in the app drawer, but there's no labels on the actual home screen. So I like this a lot because I'd imagine that most people who put an app on their home screen are already familiar with that app and that icon, so you don't really need the text to remind you what that app is. There's some other options as well. You can change the grid size. You can also remove the entire app drawer if you wish and just have the home screen. You can set it to rotate to landscape mode. So let's turn on screen rotation. Oh, it's on right now. So if I rotate the screen, you can see here, I can do everything in a landscape format. So maybe you have your phone mounted like this on the dashboard in your car. Now when you go to the home screen, you'll be able to view everything this way and it will be very seamless. Now when you swipe over this way, you'll see the Google Discover page, but you can actually customize what happens when you swipe over in that direction. So going back over to this same part of the settings here, you can see add media to home screen. So if I turn that off, now when I try to swipe over, nothing happens. So if that's a feature you're not using or you find yourself going there accidentally, you might want to disable it just like that. But also if you go here, you can also pick Samsung News as an alternative. So I think a lot of people don't realize that you can actually put a different media page there instead of the default Google Discover. So this is how the default lock screen looks on the device, but if you hold down here and then you put in your fingerprints, you can actually edit the lock screen. So this is really cool. Definitely something you'll want to try out. We'll let it load here. So the first thing is you can tap on the clock, and then from there, there's different fonts available. So many different options when it comes to the fonts. Lots of fun ones there as well. You can make it thinner or bolder. You can change the color of the actual clock. And if you go over to style, there's many options here as well. So you can see there's like a calendar one, there's an analog clock. You can just really change things quite a bit here. And if you want to, you can add the weather. I don't see why anybody would not want to. And if you want to put the date above the clock, that's also an option. So a lot of people don't realize that you can really go in here and customize the look of your lock screen, and that's how you do it. But in addition to that, you can add widgets here. So various widgets that are installed on your device can end up here. And then we have quick access by default to the phone and camera, but you can also customize those to quite a few things as well. In fact, you can put any app on your device in those quick toggles. So that's really cool. But you can see lots of good options here. So maybe you're using the flashlight quite a bit instead of accessing your phone app. I can definitely see where it makes sense to make that switch. So that's certainly one that I feel like many people will end up changing. Now heading back over to the settings, if we go to display, you're going to see here that you can pick the motion smoothness. So I recommend adaptive because you can really make the most of that 120 hertz display. But if you want to do 60 hertz instead, you can save some battery life, but things will be a bit choppier and not quite as smooth. But also over here, you can pick the screen mode. So there's natural or vivid. There's also a white balance option there as well. So definitely explore that and see what you prefer. You can change the font and font size. So that might help, or some people just might prefer that. There's also an easy mode. So this is great for people that are not good with tech. Basically, it's pretty self-explanatory, but it will give you kind of the bare minimum of the phone, but that could be awesome if you want a very simplistic setup. Also, you can go to navigation bar and you can switch from the 3-button navigation to swipe gestures instead. So by making that switch there, you can see we've got a single line here on the bottom of the display. Swiping up takes us home. Swiping partially up takes us to our recent apps. And then swiping from the side takes us back. We can also go to more options. You can adjust the sensitivity. In addition to that, under the 3 buttons, if you prefer the 3 buttons, you can go to more options and you can switch that around. So if you are left-handed, you might prefer this setup here instead with the back button on the left side. So definitely customize things here and see what you prefer. There's also dark mode if you want, and then you can also go to dark mode settings and set a schedule for that. Now the next thing I want to show you is how to take a screenshot with the Samsung Galaxy A27 5G. And there are several ways to take a screenshot here with this device. Now the first way to take a screenshot is to hold the volume down and power button for about a second. And just like that, we took a screenshot. From there, you can edit it or share it. But there are other ways to do this as well. You can also hold down the power button and ask Gemini to take a screenshot. Take a screenshot.
Sure, taking a screenshot.
And there we go, Gemini took the screenshot. You can also swipe over to the Edge panel here and tap on AI Select. And then with that, you can select a specific area. So I'm going to select that area. And then from there, you can save that to your gallery. So that's pretty convenient as well. There's also many other things you can do with that feature too. So it's a very nice one. You can also hold down on the Edge panel to access AI Select, by the way. So that's very easy to get to. And the final way to take a screenshot is called palm swipe to capture. So this one is a little bit difficult to do sometimes, but if you go like this, it'll take the screenshot. But that's how to take a screenshot with the Samsung Galaxy A27 5G. Now, another thing I want to show you is this really cool area in the settings that's full of different features. So if you go down to advanced features, you'll see many good things here. Now, the first one is go to intelligent features, and it will give you kind of an overview of the various AI features that are built into the phone. Now, I already showed you AI Select. There's also read aloud, so listen to articles and web pages like they're your own personal podcast. Voice transcriptions, custom filters, object eraser, that's very useful, and then edit suggestions. So this phone doesn't quite have as much AI as an S-series flagship device, but at the same time, it's not like there's zero AI here in the phone. Now I already showed you side button, but there's also multi-window. So swipe for split screen, swipe for pop-up view, and then full screen in split screen view. So you might want to try those out. We also have motions and gestures. So many of these are enabled by default. But you can see lift to wake is not. So when your phone is off and you lift it up, it'll wake up the display. So I would definitely enable that. We also have double tap to turn on the screen, double tap to turn off the screen. So just double tap, it turns it off. Double tap again, turns it back on. So that's really intuitive. There's also alert when phone picked up, mute with gestures, and then I showed you also palm swipe to capture. There's also one-handed mode. Now this one's not enabled by default, but we'll enable that. So now with this enabled, you can either double tap on the home button or swipe down on the center of the bottom edge of the screen. So we'll try that. So I'm gonna swipe down just like that. And now you can see we essentially have like a mini phone here. So I can reach all portions of the operating system with just one hand. So that's very nice. I can put it on the left side too if I want to. I can move this up a little bit. I can really put it to be exactly where I want it to be. I can also grab onto the corner and resize this so I can make it a little bit bigger or even smaller than it was. Let's see, sometimes it's a little difficult to grab on. There we go. So I can make it a little bit smaller, and then I can tap outside of there to take things back to normal. And another one here is dual messenger. So sign into a second account in your favorite social apps. So if you have multiple Facebook accounts or multiple WhatsApp accounts, it can actually install a clone of that app so that you don't have to deal with some of these apps not having the best multi-account support. And then also as you install other apps that are supported, they will be here as well to set up with dual messenger. But this concludes my video on tips, tricks, and hidden features for the Samsung Galaxy A27 5G. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, definitely give it a thumbs up. But this is Kevin here, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and have a great rest of your day.